We are in the beginning of one of the greatest periods of wealth creation for entrepreneurs, thanks to AI. Here's the big question though. If you are an entrepreneur, which AI startup idea do you pursue? How do you even get great AI startup ideas? In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know on how to get the greatest startup ideas. And when you learn these 3 principles, it is my sincere hope, it is truly my sincere hope, that you become one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Having coached hundreds of founders, having been an entrepreneur that's walked the path, who started a company and scaled a company and exited a company and now have coached so many founders, there's 2 questions I just love asking founders. The first question is, did you cry when you sold your company? As soon as I ask that question, I immediately get that look from a founder, almost like a, who told you? How did you know? That's for another episode. The other question I love to ask is, how did you even come up with this idea? How did you end up making this a thing? And through those questions and having watched so many founders navigate their journey, in fact, we just had a founder that just exited his company. Shout out to you, Val. Having been through so many of these twists and turns and seeing so many patterns, I've started to see key principles that the best founders apply for getting winning ideas. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles you absolutely need to know. And if you watch till the end, I'm gonna give you a bonus one that really makes sure that you're set up for success as an entrepreneur. If you're excited to dig into principle number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's dig right into it. So principle number 1, especially for founders that are looking for an idea, they're looking for the right idea. They're like, look, I've got skills, I can build a company, I can code, I have a co-founder that I can code, but what idea do I pursue? Especially now, there's just so much noise. There's so much happening and everything's changing so fast. The first principle that I always tell founders or future founders or pre-founders to pursue is to get a job. Now, I know this is a little bit counterintuitive because you're like, TK, I'm trying to quit my job and never do this ever again. But believe me, there's a rhyme and reason to this. There's some specifics here. You should get a remote job or an internship. There's a couple of reasons why this is principle number 1. A ton of founders I talked to, I asked them, like, how'd you come up with this idea? They almost always pointed back to some weird job that they had in some weird part of an organization. So like, yeah, I was doing this thing and I saw how they were doing this and it was totally broken. And I was like, this should be automated, or this should be fixed, or this should be streamlined. It shouldn't have to be this way. In fact, in my own journey, for those of you that have been following along in this channel, and if you don't know, my last company was Kader, and I started in the sales engagement space. We pioneered that category. It was all about cold emailing. Well, you can almost never connect the dots until you look back, as Steve Jobs says, but the reason I was thinking about cold emailing and about prospecting was because way back in the day, and if you actually pull up my LinkedIn profile and keep scrolling down all the way to the bottom, one of the things that I did was I had an internship at GE Water and Process Technologies in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. It's about as exciting as it sounds, but it was incredible because I had this IT internship. It was part of their IMLP program, but the thing that they told me to do, and my manager at the time, her name was Galia Morton, amazing person. She said, look, we're migrating these salespeople that we have from this on-premise platform to this cloud platform. And in order to do that, we got to get them on a call, or we got to get them on an email and convince them to migrate. And it is your job, intern, to cold call them. And this was nowhere close to being about IT, but that was my internship project. And so I literally started cold calling salespeople, and I started hitting them up and saying, hey, I know that you're in this platform. We have this new platform coming out. Would it make sense for us to have a conversation so we can tell you about what to do and how to migrate and why to switch? And that planted the seed that helped me start thinking about cold calling, cold emailing, prospecting, which later on paid off when I was developing Toutapp, having never been in sales or another sales role after that, having been an engineer. If you're struggling to find the right ideas, chances are you're kind of sitting where you are trying to come up with the right idea and you're sitting in a vacuum. Either think back to the internships or the jobs that you've had, and that's what we call domain knowledge. You got knowledge about that specific domain, and think about what are some solutions to problems that exist or workflows that are broken that you can automate or streamline given this AI and large language model technology. And if you don't have any of that, if you're like 19 years old and you're like, TK, I just did the family business and I started in the family business as well, and I got a bunch of ideas from that as well. Well, in that case, you should just literally get a job, get a remote job or an internship. And the beauty of this is even before you get the job, just from interviewing for these jobs, you might get a lot of data. You just go to Indeed, go to LinkedIn, look at jobs that are remote, that are entry level, that are knowledge worker jobs, and start to understand what they're hiring for. Because chances are those jobs are going to be replaced with AI, and you can build an AI agent or even a SaaS product with AI features, either to replace that job or to augment that job. So that's principle number one, get a job, or look at the jobs that you've had or the internships that you've had and start to look at the problems that existed in those situations or the problems that do exist in that situation. Now, if you're like literally that person that's 19 and you're not gonna get an internship, the thing you should start doing from day one is to map out what are the steps to that job and how do I actually build a product, an AI agent that can automate this part of the job. And you should start to figure out if you can build that while you're doing that job. And if that works well, then you can start to think about how to quit that job and start actually selling that, maybe to your manager. All right, so that's principle number one. Principle number two for getting AI startup ideas is to build an AI first version of a PE-backed company. This is very specific, but this works really well. There's a couple of reasons for this. Majority of PE-backed companies, not all, there's some PE firms that are incredible and are ahead of the curve, but majority of them are not. Majority of these PE-backed companies have a very simple playbook. They're gonna buy a SaaS platform that has a huge amount of revenue base and has a captive customer base, meaning they can't really leave. It's hard to leave. And what they're gonna do is they're going to increase prices, they're going to move development teams to offshore, and they are going to cut back on marketing spend because they have a captive customer base, meaning they're really good at optimizing things. They're really good at extracting value. What that means is they're not very good at research and development. They're not very good at educating a net new part of the market to buy their product, not always, which means that they are going to be completely behind on the AI wave. So if you specifically target a PE-backed company that where like the R&D people just left, or it's offshore and they don't really know how to build AI products and they're not prioritizing it, they're just fixing bugs, and the customer success people are raising their prices every single year and the customers can't quite leave and the customer experience is terrible and they're not bringing on net new people fast enough. In that case, what you should do is figure out how to do what they do from an AI first lens. Now, AI first comes in a couple of different ways. One, you should be AI first in how you build the product, meaning you should leverage AI so you need less engineers to build what they do. Number two, when you're thinking about AI first, think about, well, if it takes 100 clicks for them to use the software to get this certain result, can we automate that whole thing using an AI agent? Or can we create an AI co-pilot so it takes 10 clicks instead of 100 clicks? And third, you should think about AI in terms of how you do sales and marketing so you can eclipse them. All three of these make for an AI first company that's going after, quite honestly, a company that's basically taking back from the land, but not really planting new seeds. And that's okay. They're gonna make money no matter what. They'll still make money. They're gonna be probably fine until they get completely disrupted. But in the meantime, they are ripe targets. And that's another way you can get AI startup ideas. Now, before I go to principle number three and the bonus one I have for you, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? Are you starting to see the power of there are lots of problems to be solved? There are lots of opportunities. If you are struggling to pick the idea or thinking about what is the best AI idea to go after, chances are you're just not leaving the building. In both of these cases, what you need to be doing is either getting a job and understanding how to replace that job with an AI agent, or you should be going and talking to potential customers for this PE-backed company that's selling to them and figuring out like, hey, how's the renewal going? Are you happy? Are you getting new features? Are they incorporating AI? And based on that, you can develop your startup idea. Now, if you're starting to see the power in this, you're starting to get a little excited about like, you know what, TK? I'm not getting random ideas. And if they were so good, why would you share it on a YouTube channel? Instead, I'm getting actual principles on how to get my best idea. If you're starting to get pumped, if you are just getting a little bit closer to truly, and I meant this when I said this in the beginning of the video, I sincerely hope like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I get an email from someone like saying that, hey, I became totally legit as an entrepreneur and it's because I watched this video and I developed the idea and I made movements on it. So if you're getting excited, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really loves it when you do that. And also, you know who else loves it? My friend over there, Rashagola. He absolutely loves it. He watches all of these videos. He just hides behind me. Seriously though, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're in this stage where you have a list of ideas, but you're like, I want to move on one of them. Well, you probably want to make sure you don't waste months building the wrong product. So you want to grab a copy of my 10-point SaaS and AI business checklist. It's 10 questions you should ask to really validate your startup idea. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. Also, if you have questions about the principles I've shared and am about to share, put them down below. I always answer. All right, principle number 3. Principle number 3 is build a competitor to a Series B company. Now, this is also very nuanced, but very powerful. So I explained why going after PE-backed companies is a powerful move. They literally are going to be behind the curve on AI. They're just going to be. And if you build an AI competitor, an AI-first competitor, they're going to try and acquire it, which is also awesome. The other type of company that's going to be a little bit distracted, more likely to be disrupted, is a Series B company. And again, for PE-backed companies, you can just search, figure out the names of the top 10, top 50 PE firms, do a search for the name of the PE firm and acquires, and you'll just get a list of all the companies they've acquired. I think if you look at PitchBook or Crunchbase, you can start to see some of that data as well. For a Series B company, same deal. Just give a search for raises Series B and you'll get a whole list, and Crunchbase.com also has a list of startups that have raised. So it's super easy to find these companies. Here's what happens at a Series B. Series B means it's a startup. However, Series B also means that they have proven product market fit. Your seed round is to build the product and get to initial revenues. Seed, pre-seed, essentially. A Series A is like, hey, these guys clearly are selling. We want them to figure out predictability. So Series A is really funding predictability, which is a deeper level of product market fit. Series B is like, there's clearly a product market fit. They have a scalable go-to-market machine. We now know that if we put in $1, we're gonna get back this much in this much time, and therefore we wanna invest a huge amount into them so they can scale it out. So this is when they're executing on their scalable go-to-market machine. This is where a lot of companies go to die. Not because there isn't product market fit, but because of the execution risk. This is where founders are raising 15 million, 30 million, 60 million. A lot of times these are founders that have never scaled like this before. And as they're looking to scale their go-to-market machine, as they're looking to build out their executive team, things fall apart and markets shift. At this stage, a Series B company, a VC-backed Series B company, is the most vulnerable. For you as a founder that's looking for, hey, how do I get a great AI idea or AI startup idea or a great SaaS idea? Well, this is great because every single Series B company is going to be an idea that has product market fit. But what is not taken out of the equation is their execution risk. So those companies are going to try and execute and win, but inevitably there are going to be competitors like you. The benefit that you have is you can build it from scratch. They already figured out. They went through years of trying to figure out how to get to product market fit, and then to the A, and then to the B, and now they're like, oh my God, this is our time. We're going to go take the market. We're so well capitalized. Well, the thing is, they picked up tech debt. They are facing execution risk. And on top of that, they may not have been AI first, meaning they bolted on some AI feature, but they're not reimagining what the product should be if it was built with AI in mind today, which means that you can target these companies and build a competing product that is AI first. Again, you're building it with AI, you are incorporating AI and solving the problem with AI, and also you're going to market with AI. All three of those things give you an unfair advantage for an idea that just got proven that there is product market fit at that scale. All right, so now I promised you that I'll give you 3 and I have a bonus one. So let's go into the bonus one. Hopefully, but with these 3, you're starting to get some ideas or some ways of extracting ideas. Now, here's one thing I did learn. Remember, I was telling you the story of the 2 questions I ask founders that I love asking? Well, one of the things that I noticed is it was never the original idea that the founder ended up succeeding with. So the bonus principle is you need to start building momentum. As you build momentum, you need to be able to pivot. Now, everyone thinks that pivoting means it's a whole nother idea. And sometimes that is the case. They start with this one idea and then move to this totally other thing. But other times it's what's called a zoom in pivot. They start with this broader idea, like Instagram was originally like a super app, and then they double clicked on filters on photos. That's a zoom in pivot. So other times they zoom in pivot to be successful. Either way, the more time you spend pontificating on great ideas, the less time you spend building momentum. So what you want to be doing is getting out there and building momentum, even with the best idea that you have. Just take the best idea that you have and start going through the motions of actually taking it to market. And as you start to get data, you can pivot to where the heat is. You can pivot into the idea that's moving the fastest. And sometimes it's a completely different idea. You talk to a certain group of people and they're like, hey, this is great, but honestly, if you could just solve this other problem, we'll buy right now. And you're like, wow, 5 other people have told me that. I should figure that out. Other times it's like, hey, all of this sounds complicated. We like this one thing. And you're like, wow, that's all you want? Cool, I'll just double click on that. That's a zoom in pivot. So either way, you want to be building momentum instead of just sitting around and pontificating. All right, so let's recap and really put these pieces together. These are the 3 core principles to getting AI startup ideas. Principle number 1, get a job, or look at the job or jobs that you've had, even down to an internship, and figure out what problems existed that you can solve with an AI product. Principle number 2, build an AI first version of a PE backed company. Now, there are some PE companies that are incredible. They're going ahead of the curve on AI, but most of them aren't. It's not part of their playbook. They just don't know how to do R&D. So just disrupt them with AI first thinking, from how you build a product to the type of product that you build, all the way to how you go to market. And they'll try to buy you or you'll totally displace them. Either way, it's a win-win. And then the third one is build a competitor to a Series B company, because Series B means they've proven product market fit, but they are still likely to fail because they don't know how to scale because of execution risk. Happens all the time. So you can go disrupt them right now. And the bonus thing is these are all ways to get great ideas. You probably have a list of 50 ideas, or maybe you have 5 ideas. The bonus principle, this is the thing that I learned from all the founders, is eventually you're gonna pivot. Your first idea is probably not gonna be it, but you won't find the right idea unless you start getting the momentum going. So build momentum and pivot where the heat is. And now you know the 3 key principles that I've learned the hard way on how to get AI startup ideas, how to get great AI SaaS ideas and SaaS ideas in general. Now, what you may not know is, TK, I got some ideas. I got a short list. Maybe you thought back to that internship, or there's a Series B company that you're like, you know what? I hate that founder. I totally want to displace them. Or there's a PE-backed company and you're like, you know, that is 50-year-old software and they only have like 3 engineers in some remote country and no product manager. I bet I can beat them. What you want to do next is validate your thesis. You now have a thesis of an idea and you want to start building momentum. So to validate your thesis, the thing that I always recommend founders do is ask themselves 10 key questions. So this is why I created my 10-point SaaS and AI business checklist. It's 10 questions every founder should ask so that they don't waste months chasing the wrong idea or building the wrong product. It is an incredible resource. It's completely free. So to grab your copy, just go to tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. When you go to that page, you just put in your email address and you'll get access to it right away. You'll also get access to an in-depth video where I walk you through those 10 questions, why they're important and how to incorporate them. It's an incredible resource. I've had it for years and I've just tweaked it for the AI age. So I have specific questions in there as you're building AI companies, because I'm starting to coach a bunch of founders that are really just starting AI companies. It's still SaaS as a business model, but it's AI as an idea. So I've incorporated and updated that checklist for everyone. All right, so now you know the 3 principles to get AI ideas. Now, if you're still watching, hopefully you got value from this video. Please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really loves it when you do that. So does Rashagul over there. And also put in the comments whatever questions you have, whatever feedback you have. I love hearing from you guys. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to start, grow, scale, and exit SaaS companies. It is an incredible time to be building SaaS companies, to be building AI companies. So I'm here to serve you. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. Also, if you have a fellow founder, a team member, or a friend that you want to start a company with, please share this video with them. We want to serve as many founders as possible. I really want to stack up the odds that I get a bunch of emails 5 years from now with entrepreneurs that are defining our times, that saw this video and got inspired and started building momentum. So please share this video if you're part of a Slack group, WhatsApp group, just text it to them, whatever works for you. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is gonna be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you inside of the 10-step SaaS and AI business checklist. Take care, everybody.